So rental car wouldn't start this morning. We had to call them. It's still sitting there.
It would like turn on, the dash would turn on, all the lights would turn on, and it would make a noise when you turn the key, but it just would not click over.
Yeah, like the battery was working. It was kind of weird. But apparently Hannah was kind of doing a bit of research, and that seems to be a common issue with the
Hyundais.
Hyundai
Apparently,
Elantras.
People will say like the newer models that they all have that issue, which sucks because it happened when we were in El Cajon as well. And I was just thinking, why isn't this turning on? Like everything else is working on it. Why isn't it turning over? Let's go back that way.
Yeah, we'll go this way.
And somehow I put it in park, then put it in neutral, and it moved, and I turned the wheel and got it to start. If I would have known that, though, I wouldn't have driven it to Albert's.
Yeah. Anyways, we got a $100 credit, which was great. So they charged us less money for the inconvenience of them having to come and pick it up.
And we have something else that's kind of exciting that we'll talk to you about in the jacuzzi.
In the jacuzzi. It's not like a legitimate jacuzzi time, but
it's kind of exciting, but
it's important.
I'm not really sure.
That is one reason why we'll never have children. So since there's so many people around that pool, we're gonna go to the other one and do our jacuzzi time talk. I don't know, there's kids running around and that's kind of weird. So we just don't want to be kind of like amidst that while we're trying to have a chat. I feel like this would just be too loud, but this jacuzzi does actually work. We got some bubbles.
Usually you're on this side and I'm on that side.
Does it really matter?
Do you want to be consistent or do you want to just around?
Yesterday we got back from San Diego.
Yeah, and I had like a bunch of emails from the doctors because apparently they're just stalking us.
They've been watching our YouTube videos, so they understand our concerns.
She's like, because I wasn't responding to them, right? She's like, well, I saw your YouTube video and I understand your concerns. My producer is vegetarian, his wife is vegan, and we're very interested in like your story and like we really want to have you on the show. So I was like thinking about it because obviously Andrew and Dr. McDougall are going on the show to talk about the potato cleanse. I was like, okay, well, I'll give you a call tomorrow. So I called her today and she's like, we don't want to talk about the potato cleanse. Like we want to talk about your weight loss. We want to talk about veganism. We want to talk about that kind of stuff. And they actually want us on the show. So we would actually be on stage with the doctors sitting at the table talking about veganism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do that by myself. Like, that is way too nerve-wracking. Like, usually I make vlogs and edit all the stupid shit I say out. Like, this is a live TV show. So she's
it's not live.
Yeah, it's like recorded live, but obviously they edit it quite a bit. But she's just like, you know, if you screw up, like obviously we can do a retake and things like that because it's a live recorded show, but people make mistakes and we do retakes all the time. And she's like, your husband could go with you if you want. So I was like, all right, like, Derek, you want to go on the doctors? Like, and so she's gonna look around and see if there's any plant-based doctors that she can get on the show. But I think that we might end up going on the show. Just because like I've seen like a few of their recent videos that like Happy Healthy Vegan posted, and like they are becoming more vegan friendly. And Dr. Stork, like, he's not such a dick or like he's not a dick, you know, he just like looks at both sides of the story. And the episode that we would be on would be focused on my weight loss. Like they were intrigued by my video, you know, that has like 1 million views, so that's why they contacted me. So it'd be about veganism and weight loss and all that stuff, and it wouldn't be about the potato diet. She's like, we already did that. So
that would be good if it's not. Yeah. Because then it's very easy to ridicule a potato cleanse. There's always, well, like, what about this vitamin? What about this thing? What about that? Like, whereas like when you're eating like a whole food plant-based diet, it's much more kind of like together, and it's much more scientifically kind of like sound. We wouldn't be sitting in the audience, so it wouldn't just be like them, you know, the way that they did Happy Healthy Vegans, where they just kind of like talked about their diet and then talked down to them in the audience and ridiculed them. We would actually be on stage. So she's gonna talk to her producer because they really want me on the show.
she's like, whatever you want, like if you want your husband on there, that's fine, we'll like fly you out and do whatever and all that stuff that they do for everybody. But I'm like, okay. So I don't know, we might be on the doctors, but it wouldn't be about the potato cleanse, because I think that that's too narrow-minded. And like if they want to talk about veganism, they want to talk about my weight loss and stuff, that's fine, because I think it would be inspiring for people to see like my weight loss story broadcasted on national TV, you know, and talking about how I just ate potatoes and rice and pasta the whole time, and people going like, what? Like, how did that happen? And then talking about the starch solution and talking about things like that. And like, even if they ridicule it, like it doesn't really matter to me, because people will see us and they'll see like how healthy we are and how happy we are, and like that we're not dicks and that we're just like normal people and we have common sense. And I think that'll get through to a lot of people. I think it'll be good for veganism, but I didn't want to do it if it was going to be about the potato cleanse. And she's like, well, it's not going to be about that. We don't want to do that again.
So maybe a twist of the events, and
D-Man HCH will be on the doctors. But it's cooler that we're like sitting on stage, you know, and that we're like actually like someone, because I feel like when you're in the audience, they kind of just see you as like somebody that's below them and not really like knowledgeable and doesn't really know shit. You know, obviously we're not doctors, so they don't expect us to like pop out like 12 different ways to get vitamin B6 and B12. Yeah. But like, we can talk about our experience and all the people that we've helped, and just talk about things in a normal way where it makes common sense, and people are like, the goal, I guess, of us being on there would just be to like click something in people's brains and be like, well, that actually makes sense to like eat a low-fat diet of plants. Like, you know, like if we could just make it click for like some way, it wouldn't even matter what they said, you know?
Because so many people are just like so into the low carb thing, right? Yeah. When you're like, oh, well, I did it eating, you know, as the Daily Mail article said, a carb-heavy diet. Yeah. Which I think this is like the funniest term ever. But yeah, if you're just eating like a high-carb, low-fat diet, and people are like, oh, like I could do that. That
I could eat potatoes and rice and pasta all day.
Like that's way easier than the shit that I'm doing.
Than eating bacon and eggs. Like people that eat that way feel sick. Like you just can't eat that way and feel like good, you know? I think the goal of it would be to just, you know, be able to tell my story. And no matter what they said, like the proof would be in my story. And that's what they want to talk about, is my weight loss story. So, I mean, obviously it has like over 1 million views on YouTube. So they're probably just like, well, that's very popular. We should put this girl on the show. Yeah. And it's the producer that's vegetarian and his wife is vegan that wants me on the show. Like he really wants me on the show. Like this girl was like, she's like, my producer was like yelling at me, and she's like, get her on the phone. I definitely think it's like gonna happen. It's just, it would be very nerve-wracking for us. Yeah. Because obviously we've never been on national TV, so
it'd be a fun experience though, and you guys would get to see everything along the way. And
so we could
have a meetup in LA as well. Yeah, we could totally do something like that.
There are so many reputable plant-based doctors that have saved hundreds of thousands of people's lives, and like even people that have written like, you know, national bestseller books and shit, and they want us on the doctors. Like there's so many other people that they could pick, but it's just because we're young and we have a social media following and like videos that have tons of views, like they know that social media is like taking over. So
I think it could be good if it's like presented the way that it kind of is presented to us now. So
and I think as long as, you know, we just practice or show common sense, and we show, you know, that we're like obviously have a lot of empathy, and like just our demeanor, like we care about people. We're not gonna be like, well, you guys are f***ing retarded, like blah blah blah, you like eat dead animals. Like we're not gonna be like that, you know? Like we're gonna talk about it in a way that makes common sense to like everyone, you know? So we'll let you know. It wouldn't be till March, so hang in there.
Out of home, but go back to our apartment, go to Sprouts.
You're gonna go to Sprouts?
I'm gonna go to Sprouts, get some rice, because I'm out of rice, and rice is life. So just finishing off today here at the puppy park. A little bit of a zero waste rant. So I went out and I bought 10 pounds of bulk rice, as you saw in the video. The thing that bothers me is like, it would be easier and cheaper just to go to Safeway, buy a 20-pound bag for 20 bucks. Like a big bag, right, of white jasmine rice. And see, like, the thing about zero waste is it's not zero waste even if you buy everything in bulk, because like if I go and buy 10 pounds of rice at a time from the bulk bin, like what did that rice come in? Did it come in a bag, or did it just magically, did they grow it in the back of Sprouts?
Like, it didn't come and they just shovel it off a truck. You know?
Yeah.
It came in a bulk bag that we would normally buy it in, and then they just throw the bag away instead of us throwing it away. So it's literally just buying more expensive rice in smaller quantities when you could just buy a 50-pound bag of rice.
So for me, it just doesn't make sense to do the bulk for rice, but for some of the other stuff, like it totally does make sense. Like for a lot of the dry beans and the lentils and the split
Things you don't
peas
need
and
huge quantity.
yeah,
Like, nobody's gonna buy a 50-pound bag of. Well, we might buy a 50-pound bag of lentils. But like,
not anytime soon.
the thing, like, it's not really zero waste. I mean, definitely buying produce and stuff like that that's not coming in bags, and like washing your own lettuce and not buying the pre-cut stuff that's in tons of packaging and things like that, obviously. If you want to be really, really zero waste though, like a true zero waste would be growing the majority of your own food, having a compost, making your own soaps out of various things. You know, you're always gonna have waste, it's just having a smaller amount of waste.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because you don't take the bulk bag home and throw it away or reuse it, it doesn't mean that you're not creating waste. Like, we're all creating waste. So I think the biggest thing is obviously to be vegan, because it creates the least amount of waste environmentally.
The whole zero waste thing, like, definitely take some good concepts from it. First and foremost, it should be about eating a plant-based diet. Like, if you're actually looking at it from an environmental standpoint,
then you should try to grow the majority of your own food.
Yeah, and then just using the smallest amount of like plastic bags, so getting reusable bags and
mesh bags, and then also buying things that are compostable or easily recyclable, like glass, or things that have been made from recycled things that are like compostable that you can put in your compost. I mean, people can always educate themselves on plastics and what can be recycled and how plastics can be recycled, like, again, because it's not, I mean, you can recycle aluminum an infinite amount of times, and glass is very easily recyclable, but like plastics, every time it degrades the plastic and then eventually it ends up in a landfill. So it's better to just educate yourself on that kind of stuff, because just because you don't have waste and you're not bringing it home with you and putting it in your tiny little jar and being like, this is what I created in 2015, doesn't mean that you're not creating waste.
Hope that helps. And you know what? That is the end of today's vlog. So we will catch you on the next one. Peace!